Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and everything in between. Welcome to Risen Esports Week 1 Dominate. That is the Diamond Cap League. You are getting in on the ground floor with all the action. Tonight, we are bringing you two powerhouses of the West Coast, Utah State University versus California State, the 5th seed versus the 11th seed. And joining me on the desk is going to be Crims and Lam. How are you guys doing tonight?
What up, mate? I'm doing good. I'm ready to cast some League of Legends today, man. I mean, Dominate is back, better than ever. There's only three of us on today, and that's completely fine, Crims. I'm not salty about that at all.
Yeah, I think maybe we didn't really need four people here. I think
Nope.
three is good enough. It looks more visually appealing than four, anyway. Everyone knows odd numbers. And you know what? We got all the talk in the town anyway. I think this is exactly what our stream needed here.
But enough about who we've got on the cast. Who it is doesn't necessarily matter too much, unless you're Slayer, of course. But
Oh, okay, that's a call out. Oh, hey, we were gonna keep that subtle,
Skate
but
around it. No. But anyways, we got two teams tonight. We got USU. We got CSULB, which is
CSU
California.
LB.
CSULB, California State University, Long Beach. Two great teams. Have we looked over the notes a little bit, seen who we got playing? We got Lo the Man, we got Fifth Business, Azen, Falentine, and Kiamya making up the team for USU. And on the other side of the rift, we're going to have Ione Ronin, Dollhouse subbing in for the jungle, Virtual Blade in the mid lane, Snuggles the Teddy ADC, and Hen Shangde. Did I pronounce that right? How am I doing, Crims?
That's good enough.
That's pretty good. That's better than mine. Better
Bring
than
it up
mine,
the
I can tell
bot
you that.
lane. Anything that y'all are looking for specifically this game?
Well, there is we kind of look over. By the way, might actually produce these notes, which is phenomenal for us. So thank you, brother. We definitely appreciate that. Kind of looking through, it's pretty much a standard meta composition on both of these teams, apart from quite a few pocket picks that we can see there, Crims, which is pretty obvious. If you want to take something away, then that's surely going to be the focus of both of these guys here, if they've done their homework. Because if you ain't done your homework, then it's
You don't
kind of a
pass the
free throw.
test.
Yeah, you
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 don't
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 pass
pass
the
the
pass the
test.
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 I don't know anything about that.
Well, for the studied gentleman on this desk here, I do think we notice the mid laner, as in here,
Mhm.
has a very narrow champ pool. And by narrow, I mean this guy plays Akshan.
Yep, Akshan. There are a few more ADC mids that he's put into the rotation, so I saw a little bit of Tristana, but yeah, it's mostly Akshan. Also been picking up the meta picks of Ryze and Kassadin just to be able to slot those puppies in. But I'm excited to see some potential ADC mid comp, seeing as Falentine and Kiama have been put on the Seraphine Sona. So we could potentially see double support bot, mid lane ADC, and then transition to teamfight compositions that way.
Yeah.
Tristana is a really good talking point here as well, Crims, right? Because we've kind of seen Tristana make her way back up into that mid lane. The priority that she gives, the siege potential that you have with this champion as well, is something really serious that you need to take into consideration. Because if you have a champion like, Kassadin is heavily favored, but if you have a Kassadin against Tristana, that push is going to be relentless. And if she can try and get some solo kills on the board, it's going to be even more harder for that hyperscaling mage carry in that mid lane.
It's has a lot of benefits. You can definitely get the push in with the Tristana. You can get the bully if you are also playing something like the Akshan. And yeah, you can also punish the roams by getting lots of plates. So there's a lot of benefits of playing AD carries mid against Kassadin.
But all this talk of ADC mids is making me want to see what are these teams drafting, and I have news that we are moving into draft right now. I believe our lovely producer
If you go Karma Lem, you get better push and poke. Oh, they're going to go ahead and pick the Nami. This is a weird duo. I'm assuming this is kind of something they've developed on their own. There is the trap potential. I think Lux is just overall better. But in terms of winning the lane phase, Lamb, this Nami is going to make it very hard to kill the Caitlyn.
So along with an attack speed steroid that Varus does get if he's going to be locked in here, Zillion can offer the movement speed. And of course, that double stun will come out as well as the chrono shift that goes on a heavy cooldown as the game goes on. And that will be locked in here. So we'll see if that Zillion will go to the support role. They kind of left that at a flex right now. I would still be surprised if it does go to the mid lane. I don't always see it. And it's very hard to see it with that champion, as everybody does well and truly know. But the second phase is banning. I mean, they're going through it pretty methodically here, but they should have something prepared for the second phase here. What do you want to see taken away based on these notes? We got the bot potentially locked in and the top here, but that echo going to be taken away, and I believe that was part of Fifth Business's champion pool there.
There are a lot of specialists on this Rift right now, so the Echo was one of them. Is also going to get knocked out here. But also, Doubles is a great pick to ban for CSULB. That is going to be a dive champion taken away. And so far, there is not a whole lot of protect for the Varus. Yes, Zillion ult is there, but that is after your carry dies, Lamb. So you really need something to prevent that from happening in the first place and let your Varus and backline do all that damage. And for the other side, Utah here, going to ban that Graves. They're banning some pretty strong junglers. I think that's smart because I think might have missed it here, but he was definitely talking about it before we went live. There is a master level jungler in this game, and I think we know which team he's on.
Yeah, taking away the Graves is something that you have to. I mean, when you get to that master status as well, the Graves just becomes that much more influential, right? You can get around the map, that 1v1 potential. They know how to play the game. They know the macro that is behind the jungle. That's why they're in the Masters tier. So kind of focusing that down. They take away the Amumu as well. I think that's really smart. Amumu is still very good in that support role. Actually, probably the highest win rate in that jungle right now as well, Crims. So that's a really good takeaway for that engage and peel factor for that Varus.
If we look here, all the highest tier junglers are gone. Maokai, Amumu, and Zac. Those are basically the premier junglers right now. Vi going to be picked up here. This is going to offer them excellent dive. I like the Ornn Vi combo. And Vi can pretty much ignore so much CC on the cease and desist. So Caitlyn going to have a bit of a rough time getting away. And with the Ornn combo, that might just be the ticket to kill this Caitlyn here and punch their victory.
And for CS here, they did miss that ban, and it is going to be moved forward without that. Sejani being locked in here, that's a good round off to the composition already. And now they're just, what do you want to see here? Usually it's a control mage that comes in this last spot, and kind of glancing along the champions right now, Kassadin is still available, and it wouldn't be too bad here, Crims. But again, you have to try and guess where the Zillion's going, because that last pick could be to counter that mid laner.
Yeah, the Zillion could be
Syndra.
Countered here, but they're
sense.
going to pick up the Syndra. It's a little safer. Yeah, if they go Kassadin, they could pick up a melee ranged champion on the other side like Yasuo, Yone. And well, then Kassadin has a very difficult time laning, and it scales pretty well. Kassadin will peak later, and that it usually benefits the melee there. So they have basically any option. They could switch out Varus, and they could take this Orianna. So CSULB, they're really focusing in on that team fight on the other side, Utah. They have the laning champions for this game. Cassante Sejuani versus Ornn and Vi. That is not pretty, Lamb. That is going to be heavily in Cassante Sejuani favor. Even if they hit level 6, it's going to get even worse. The Sedge passive, Cassante's ability to CC and dive is going to be terrible. Ornn is squishy early, so they're going to win the lane top side. They're going to win the lane bottom side, as we talked about earlier, and the mid game is probably the only one that is even for CSULB. They can gank with the Vi, play pressure there, but it's looking like Utah want a lane win to win the game.
Well, I really like the Sejani pick here, and on a jungler is Pro S that Utah have. They should make use of that. Again, Sejani has been another one that we've seen on an ascendancy, right? It seems like all these old jungle picks just, they come from nowhere, and they're so successful once they get off the ground running. Now, the Sejani against the Vi is going to be an interesting matchup because that Vi has to get off the mark pretty quickly. If you don't, and you fall behind against the Sejani, you will not matter at all in this game. Like you already mentioned, this K'Sante is a sleeper pick. He's so damn hard to kill, and once he pops that all out, the damage that he actually expends is incredible, which makes a lot of pressure on the Zillion to get the right ults off at the right time here, Crims.
Yeah, protecting the Varus is going to be difficult. Cassante has a very extended damage window. Plus the Oriana, though, that might throw a bit of a problem for Cassante there. Has shielding, has utility and speed, Zillion ultimate and speed on top of it as well. Varus may be safe, but it's definitely going to be on skill execution. That being said, Lamb, I don't know if you heard of this, but we have a ball delivery system on the Rift here. Vi Oriana combo. Definitely going to be getting guaranteed ultimates, and at least one of these backliners, Caitlyn or Syndra, I expect to see this combo be performed. And if they can get both in one shot, Lamb, that is GG in the team fight. Or Ornn's gonna follow up. The Varus damage is going to pull through, and that's going to be GG in the team fights. So CSULB, they have a good shot at taking over team fights and objectives later in the game.
Well, the one thing they have to make sure is, a lot of the time you get sidetracked. You're like, okay, the Oriana delivery system is going to be probably one of the main contenders for the win condition in these team fights, but she has to have damage. She has to get through the laning phase pretty much unscathed. Against a Syndra, which is pretty relentless, that push is going to be so significant until Oriana can actually get items and answer that back. So a lot of questions right across the board here. Like that mid lane matchup going to be also important. How that bot lane is going to go, that confirms the Zillion will be the support in this game for California State. So I'm really excited to see how they pull off this composition if they are going to go toe to toe with Utah, who are undoubtedly the favorites in this game.
And they're drafting like it. They have a basically, we are going to take control of this map and win the game. They're going to try to shut out California State Long Beach University before the team fights and their setup start rolling in. That says to me that they think that they're the better team. They have the better execution. But, Lamb, if they ever slip up, even for just a moment, and CSLB gets a foothold in this game, they're going
Well,
to completely take over.
to make sure that we can get all angles covered, we're actually going to bring Mike back into this conversation because he did a lot of research on both of these teams and want to get his thoughts kind of on what these compositions are looking like here, Mike. Did this draft go how you thought it would?
I think yeah. I this draft is looking pretty much exactly how I thought it would. The jungler, of course, is the wild card in this matchup. Dollhouse, of course, getting subbed in, so we're actually not going to see the Master Tier jungler.
Oh,
So
okay.
Dollhouse is substituted. He is Platinum 4 right now, and I believe was Plat or Diamond last season. So a little bit weaker on the power level, but they still have a very similar style. So I think we're still going to see a lot of the same kind of game plan coming through. If that Vi can get off the ground, I think Krim's pointed out exactly. If Dollhouse can get off the ground running early on in this game, the game is going to go in the favor of CSU. But USU are the better team. They are more dominant. They are currently on a 14-game win streak in Flex Q. They've played a lot together. They've practiced a lot together. They've picked a well-oiled machine. They've got two front lines, a control mage, a support, and an ADC. The most basic team fight composition you can imagine, of course, with K'Sante and the Sejuani duo looking very, very strong. So overall, as long as things go even, I think that USU is going to have the advantage here.
Well,
Right,
let's
but,
get quick
well, hold on.
predictions. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
what are we holding up for? What's going on here? We got the
Well, okay, that's
shades.
gonna play into my
Shades coming.
predictions. Oh, look, let's just talk about the scale factor. It's gotta be a question that needs to be answered in every draft, in every discussion. The scale factor. Look, scaling pleases me. It's pleasing to my eyes. It makes sense here, and I think CSU have the scaling comp. They have that team. They have the AOE's for the team fights, and they have the Zillion. And I like the scaling because it lets you not play a perfect game. You can get away with it and still win in the end if you have even decent late game macro with the scaling comp. It's going to give you a good shot at winning, even if you don't win the early game.
Well, all I gotta say is just win. Let's get predictions, guys, before we go to break here. So I'm gonna be again. I'll be the villain here because I probably have a strong suspicion of what you two are gonna go here. But I'll say California State. I think they're gonna get the Oriana off the mark. I think that Zillion pick is gonna be so crucial to their win condition as well. And I think Ornn is gonna have a relatively nice laning phase. I could be wrong, of course, which many a time I am. But really quickly, gents, who do you think? We'll start with Crims, and then Mike, you can cast us out of here after.
All right, I think we all know who I'm picking. I mean, look, I talk about scaling every time on the desk here, and you know what? Go dirtbags. So let's see.
I'm thinking it's gonna be USU. Everything synced up and ready for y'all's viewing pleasure. Stick around for week 1 of the Dominate League, USU versus CSULB.
Utah State,
30 seconds
or
until
Utah,
minions
rather.
spawn.
Actually messed that up already.
Yeah.
California State. Which state is better in this case? We'll see how they actually take the ref. So exciting. Back again, Crim's on the desk for regulars at Risen, and this time it's on a Sunday. Doesn't get much better than this. This one is going to be entertaining for sure.
I am definitely excited to see, the hometown state take the victory here. Best Coast, is what I
Minions
say.
have spawned.
As Zillion gonna be approaching for some warding. Is not gonna get it off here, but now we can see the jungler starting. Dullheart is gonna be starting on that top side, pathing towards bottom. Wants to cover against this deadly Caitlyn Nomulan. Otherwise, Fifth's business is going to be trying to mess up Ronin on the top side. I mean, that Cassante said Juaniland. Have you seen the power of this duo? It is absolutely insane.
One word. Lockdown. Actually, that's 2 words. Ah, man, we're having a day of it. Lockdown?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that 1 word? Remember when we were in
We
lockdown?
can make it one word if we want.
Yeah, it's 1 word now because this is Lambing Crimson's cast. It's 1 word. Lockdown.
Down.
Either way, you ain't getting away from Chisanti and Sedge when that gank comes up to the top lane for sure. Like you already mentioned, the Ornn is a little bit squishy at the beginning of the game until he gets those grass procs and itemization coming through, but the benefit of him is he can stay in lane and still get items in his inventory.
So that's going to extend his ability to stay in the lane. But it just might not be enough to get Cassante here. Asin going to be getting some poke down on the Virtual Blade. And look at this. Cassante pushing in the Ornn to be expected. Vi's going to path away. And both of these junglers going to be doing a full cleanse here in fall time. That range on Caitlyn is completely overpowered in the laning phase. So far, Snuggles taking a pounding, taking a lot of bullets.
And not snuggling the Teddy in this case, but gonna get the bullets instead. Dullheart just a little bit short with that one. Is Asin has to get over the wall. The flash already used. Hen has to flash away in the bot lane before the gank coming through. Here comes that Sejani. The permafrost got a full stack right now. That's first blood. The Zillion falls, and Caitlyn gets on the board. See that duel in the top lane again. We're not gonna see a death there just yet.
This business, interestingly, just goes for the 3-camp bot side into the game. Unfortunately for Dullheart, isn't having the same direction, so can't punish accordingly. Fifth business is going to get away with this. That's getting away with murder.
Away with murder certainly suits the team that wants to win, because ideally you have to kill the opposition, Crims. That's how League works. The more kills you got from my silver brain, basically that's how the game should be won. But in this case, it's not always
hits that dopamine center of your brain when you go, yes, this is good.
Hey, I'm 10-1. Why ain't I winning this game? The rest of the team
Kills are
is
good.
0-10.
Hey, 10-1, 0 CS. You go, I should be winning.
0 CS. It's not that bad. Not that bad yet. There's a reason why we don't go into the ranking stage. Primarily because of the 9 times, and that's not champion. Well, we've gone back into this game, but Dullheart, like you already mentioned, does have a little bit of a CS lead, so we'll see the positioning of the Vi is going to be important, because like we touched on in the pre-draft, the Vi has to get busy, right? It's one of those champions, it's all or nothing. Once you go in with that cease and desist, you have to make it count. So we're yet to see that. Well, only level 4 in the game so far, so usually power farm up until that 6 if you can't get anything early, but no flashes in that bot lane might be enticing for Dullheart here to protect his own laners. But he's doing the wraparound right now and he gets spotted out, so he's not going to get anything down there.
Well, right now the most vulnerable lane is Asin. Doesn't have the splash, type of flash over that wall from earlier. They don't have the combo with the Orianna yet, so I mean, wait till that 6 seems to be the thing.
Iron Ronin in a little bit of trouble. Searing charge away, gets permafrosted pretty early there, but should still be okay. They might be going for a Bellow's Breath. Oh, Fifth business actually tanks that turret one too many times. And total strikes going forward, low the man. Grassproc keeps the Ornn alive just. My God, it's on the knife's edge up there.
Yeah, Dullheart trying to run up there as soon as possible. Possibly to save this lane here. Roman is out of mana. This means that Ronan can get the push. Oh, going a little bit slow.
Bellow's Breath, he gets the Brittle Proc. Fifth business in trouble too. Double kill for Ronan up there in the top lane.
All right, that was some risky business though, as Ronin picks up the double kill with barely any HP. And Lamb, I think that was perfectly timed level up from killing the K'Sante. Ornn 2-0 against the K'Sante Sejuani, and not only that, Lamb, it was a 2v1. Dalhart wasn't even there. Did it all by himself. No jungler needed.
You know what they say about California, they love to party, and up there in the top lane, Ornn's certainly going to have a boogie on the more that this game goes on. 2 kills already very early on for the big tank in the top lane, which means that might deter the business from visiting up there again, because they tried so hard to kill him there. No mana on the K'Sante, it was very questionable. Hand under pressure here, Sejuani following it off. Zillion gets his stun off. Boost as well, and Virtual Blade is enough to make this Sejuani think twice about that one, but gets the roam off and doesn't get anything for it.
Yeah, and Jagda was able to make it out of there.
Nice.
Very scary situation. Meanwhile, though, Snuggles is snuggling up to that turret. That's his best friend right now because there's no protection now there. Coming out, poking out. Yeah, top lane doing top lane, but most importantly, with that bot lane pressure, Lamb, the dragon is being taken. I know the camera thinks this is more important, but the dragon take is definitely the most important thing right now.
That's a good priority using in that ball lane, because you got to push with the Caitlyn. Nami, a little bit questionable. We'll see how that pairing fends off with the changes that occurred to Nami. Certainly not the good one that made this support that's so important for first picking, actually on the blue side a lot of the times, and if it wasn't, it was picked up very early on in the draft, but not in this case. But that first dragon going to be picked up from 5th business. He's making business with the objectives, not in the kills necessarily. Going to see a duel in that top lane again, but Katani gets it all out through, pull of the forge, gets missed. Oh, the total strike from low, the man Jukin knocks up Dolhart as well, might be looking for a double for himself. This champion is just ridiculous.
Yeah, Ronin had that kill, but just fumbles the execution. Dalhart was on the way. That was gonna be a kill, and we were gonna see a 3-0 potentially Ornn in the top side here. Low the man though pulls out the win, stops the Vi engage beautifully. Made it look easy. And now this game is in the favor of blue side. Utah is getting an early advantage. This is what their comp wanted to do. And it's what they need to win here, primarily through that bot side here. They are taking 2 objectives in a row. On that 3rd objective, it's going to really steer them towards the victory here. So looking for this next dragon. We're looking forward if Utah can secure the mid-game victory here and control the map.
Overall, this early game is not too bad.
Oh, that's going to hit.
Oh, change of corruption, everything lands. Exhaust comes out, so that might negate the damage, but the Ignite is burning. Hemp picks up that one. Good counter play coming through. They see they made the rotations to get Shelly, and they pick off the AD carry in the bot lane.
Yeah, Kamiya did not babysit his AD carry. That is usually what happens. AD carries tend to die when left alone. And now that bot lane might have just been turned around, and that's unfortunate for Utah. That is where they want their power. They want the biggest difference to be is in that bot lane off the back of this Caitlyn. Valentine falls at just the wrong time. And now more opportunities for California State University to take this back into their hands.
Well, I was going to say this isn't such a bad start for California State, but look at that CS discrepancy now in that top lane. K'Sante gets a kill back, and now he's just taking full control of how that laning phase is going. Albeit this won't concern the Ornn too much, right? Because your ultimate goal is to get to that mythic and just start scaling up that you can scale the rest of the members on your team with those upgrades here, Crims.
Yeah, those 13, 14, 15 upgrades are going to be huge, especially on someone like the Orianna and the Forest. Oh, that's going to be stun landed. They're trying to get this gank going. Needs to hit the ultimates.
Oh, Shockwave lands as well. Ceasing desist. They're committing everything to kill.
Oh,
wow. My God, that was clutch from Aizen in that mid lane. He gets ultimate off right before he dies. Trades 1 for 1.
That was definitely a train of CC right on the edges, but that left the bot lane exposed. Snuggles, his best friend, is not going to make it this game, Lamb.
Feels bad feels bad entirely. But again, it's not so bad. This game is incredibly close, but look at that goal lead. So kills aren't everything. Colin Forge comes out. They're looking to collapse back onto K'Sante. Low demand. Just walks it out. They just don't have any more follow-up. No ultimate on fight. Still wants the 1v2. Easy all out across. They cut off the arm from saving the fight. Can he get the last out? Oh, low demand. Styling up there, looking for another one, and gets the flash out of the orange.
All right, this K'Sante is out of control. That is a monster on the top side. Needs to be penned in. Going for more. Whoa,
no
more in the
way.
take, Lamb.
Wow. Take a breather, dude.
Yeah, this
He's just a monster.
I think the play's over, but it ain't. K'Sante just has that extended power window that I talked about. He's going. Has more gas in the tank. Mid lane getting siege up here. Caitlyn is an excellent siege champion with that long range. And look at this, plate's being knocked down already. The plate discrepancy is huge in this game, and you can see there is a gold difference starting to accrue. Right now it's in that 3K range, and Utah is all set to win this game if they can keep up this pace.
And Utah have that win condition in that top lane. All of a sudden, that double kill on the Ornn doesn't look too great when he's down in CS, and this K'Sante is 1v2, and he just wants to take the fight every opportunity he's got. But they do have the first dragon of the game, and they're probably looking to try and secure the second one. Here, the Mountain Drake just spawned. Syndra is down here as well. I believe they got all 5 members. Yes, they do. Glacial Prison just gets thrown out. Just to threaten the kill, and it looks like this will go uncontested here.
I think that's the right play from CSU. Definitely should not be taking this fight right now. The power spikes have been hit. Look at Caitlyn has that mythic already. And K'Sante has an item up. Not what you want to be running into when they have control of the dragon. Yes, this business did use this edge 1 early, but there are still 4 other ultimates that can take your team down to size. They didn't have the pressure in the bot side, and mid lane is a wash at this moment, so I think it's smart to give that over. You're going to have to pick your battles wisely for CSU, and I think that's a wise decision. Fight at a later date if you fight first.
The Hextech gates will open for this one. It's going to be a Hextech Soul, and that will be also important to contest with. And now that Utah already have those early game dragons, they're looking at sub 25 minutes on that Dragon Soul if they are to get it. So we need to see some fight back here from California State as they are putting under a little bit of pressure. They keep roaming up the Zillion to the mid lane because that's where all the action's coming from.
Yeah, the Zillion is perfect at preventing people from dying. That's what they need right now. They need to stall out this game. They're going to interestingly pair up Virtual Blade into K'Sante. Feels like they think Ornn is not going to be able to stand. Rather take over their mid laner instead. Hopefully that doesn't leave them open to their mid laner dying, because right now that is pretty much their strongest power on the team.
Snuggles will get that last CS in the mid lane, so they rotated their carries very early on, and you can see why that turret didn't stand a chance. Look at that bot side here, Crims. 5 turret plates untouched on the side of Utah in that bot side. It shows how powerful this Caitlyn pick really is and how much value it's added to their team's composition in this game.
That could also show right in the gold difference as well. 1.2k gold lead on Fallen Time. Looks like they might be going for a play here though.
Flash doesn't hit, but it seems as success does. Can they get the kill here? Looks like they will. Oriana will claim that one. Picks up the ball as well. Doesn't hit the mark with that one. Yamya hits the stasis, but it's just to delay the inevitability. Double kill for Virtual Blade. California State fight back.
That is an excellent play, and it looks like they might have practiced this combo quite a bit. Hit Virtual Blade landing 2 beautiful shockwaves in a row. They're going to use this to acquire the 4th objective on the map. They did give up some CS topside to K'Sante. Low the man going to be taking the free farm and the turret in the meantime. But so far, CSU, it looks like they're aiming to scale, but that doesn't mean they're going to be passive.
Oh, huge spike! Great start of the week. Lands on multiple members. K'Sante gets held all out across the wall, looking for Virtual Blade, stealing the spotlight. Triple kill onto the top laner of Utah, looking for 4. And Ron tries to trade over, and he will get the quadra. K'Sante is now well out of control.
Oh, Utah, you saw them closing in, and that Rare Herald was not in the perfect timing for CSU. They get completely steamrolled. It's a clean sweep as well. They were making wise decisions up until that point, and now the game's wide open. Utah, they can take this easy.
Wide open, and they're marching it down that open mid right now. Shelly looking to get a second successful dive off onto that inhibitor turret. That's going to fall really easily. Dollheart around the side. I would probably get the hell out of there, because that's not a fight that you want to do if they can spot out the jungler here, and Dollheart will abide by that, but going to get cut off by the Syndra. Scar the weak into everything, but does get across with the Q there. The ball breaks are coming to the aid of the Vi, and right now this game is snowballing out of control. 8,000 just under is that gold lead for Utah State.
Yes, CSU, it looked like they were clawing their way back. They made an excellent play on the Caitlyn, but then just took a step too far. They flew a little too close to the sun, and they got burned. You know, Lamb, sometimes you have to identify when you're in dodge, and everyone knows what to do when you're in dodge.
Yeah, get out of there. And to touch on the sun aspect, as speaking as a Scotsman, yeah, sunscreen is always needed. Definitely that factor 50. We don't tan, we just burn, baby. And speaking of burn in this game is just getting burned. It's getting incinerated. The chances of coming back for California, they might live in the sun, but they're feeling the heat in this one.
Yeah, the sun is creating a desert right now. It is just a dry spell. So far, there's only one person that is standing out on the side of CSU, and it's Virtual Blade. And Oriana is a champion that can turn around a team fight at any moment. It's going to be tough, though. 7K down. Oh, this is going to be...
Oh, bubble lands there, and Dollheart actually gets ultimate from the Zillion. Don't want to commit too much on this. They sidestep the double bomb. No sun going through. They pick up the jungler. Ace in the hole.
No.
Ace right into the face of Virtual Blade. We were just hyping him up. And he gets taken down by the Caitlyn as that third dragon is on the map right now. Low the man gets a flash out. Call of the Forge goes through just to deter the Cassante from killing the top laner again.
Yeah, Cassante, Lone Man, no fear against Ronin right now. And look at this gold lead. It's approaching. It's approaching that 10K mark. Oh, it passed it. It's almost on 11K. You know, apparently I'm supposed to be the one getting math here. As Utah have 3 dragons in a row. They have complete game control. 0 turrets have fallen. They've taken 5 themselves. This is complete map control. I think the Baron is going to follow suit at that point.
Utah now suffocating that jungle, experiencing gold, going straight into the pocket of their members here. It's Faith business, makes it his business to make sure that Dollheart cannot farm anymore in this game. The Sejanni pick is proven to be also important. I mean, their whole draft here, Crims, is so impressive. And we already called it. You know, I was really vibing for California State going into this. It was optimal at that point. Optional, I should say, not optimal, because it's certainly not the way that this game is gone. But man, what a performance. Once that Cassante got off the mark, the Sejanni just kept coming to the point where he can 1v2. Now he's on a board to basically 1v5. He is massive.
This Cassante is exactly the champion that you want to be banning in the next one, Lamb. I don't think this one's going to come through. Yeah, we're going to ban. Hopefully someone bans Cassante today. As, yeah, Ronin, the orange pick looked good at first. We have to admit that 2-0. But as soon as Rodoman was able to get advantage, it just completely snowballed in his favor as now. I mean, this game is a complete wash for Utah. They're going to get the Baron soon. They're getting control of this jungle area. The vision's coming down. Seeing a lot of blue around this Baron and not enough red. If CSU walks in and they take a bad angle, they're going to get completely steamrolled again.
Oh, Dollheart. That was a big commitment to try and get back the chicken. I believe he got the small one. Shockwave goes on to Valentine. Walks away, but Dollheart commits over there. She's assist on the wrong target, and they kill the jungler with the Baron on the board. The rest of California are going to withdraw from that fight, as the Baron is certainly going to be the objective for Utah now. Is low, the man, he's just flexing muscles, gets the flash out with Virtual Blade.
Yeah, Virtual Blade is digitally here, but not physically right now. As Cassante scared to clear that in. Look at this Baron go uncontested with the gold lead, and they have a Caitlyn with the Baron Lamb. Taking that's going to be more gold, more map control, and one step closer to closing out this game. 11K gold lead. It's not often you see a comeback from 11K Lamb, and that is for good reason.
No, the macro has been insane actually coming through from Utah. You can argue that the macro didn't even have to be half as good because their members just won individually so hard. To give you an aspect of here, Cassante is actually a full item up on Ornn in the gold department. That's kind of ridiculous. 3,000 gold between both of the top laners here, and it's just monumental. What a performance coming through from the Cassante. This cannot go through in game 2, or you're just hoping that you lose the game. But they're going to start the siege here, Crimson. They're easily going to take that inhibitor. Will they push for more?
They're not really syncing up the waves. They're just going to 5-man run it down. That's how strong they feel. They're putting that macro on the back burner.
And just gets deleted. Gets ultimate off for himself. Golden Forge goes out. Lands on 2 members. Chains of Corruption goes right from Snuggle. This might be. He has to snuggle that fountain in just a second. Your Scatter, he's going to land. Glacial Fountain going to land. They're just making this look too damn easy. Welcome to Utah State, baby, and welcome to dominate. As they certainly dominated California State in this one. They're going to take game 1 pretty successfully and easily. Second turret going to fall as they're sending Snuggles. I told you, he'd be in that fountain. Will he survive though? Scar the Week looks like he'll see this through. They take a really comfortable game 1 there, Crim. Wow, what a performance.
Yeah, Utah, they send California into the dirt face first. That is a face plant of a game number 1, and they take it dominatingly. Lamb, it's looking like if they get this Cassante one more time, it's going to be a 2-0 for Utah State here.
Well, it's easy, Crimson. If they're tuning in right now, ban Cassante. That's it. Look, even I can do it. You can do it. Get rid of that champion right now. That champion is probably top priority for everybody. I mean, I can't believe we actually talked about Nami compared to what this champion has done. Untouched, relentless. I mean, you've seen the ability that Low the Man has on this champion as well. I mean, the individual micro on the champion was just insane. And this is something that, you know, when that Ornn got that early double kill, which was really surprising. Look at the Ornn's KDA at the end of the game. 2-3-0. Ronan did nothing for the rest of that game because of the pressure that Fifth Business and Low the Man excelled up there, and it just made it so hard for Ornn to actually get off and do anything. The gold lead at that top lane, it ended at 7,000. 7,000 between both of the top laners. That was insane.
Ooh, that is quite a disgusting number to be ahead.
Wow.
Definitely ended the game on a good note. Yeah, ban Cassante. What else can you say here? The pressure exuded kept Ornn under turret all game, so no really good roam ultimates. And the bot lane was looking a little unstable, but Low the Man just kind of reined the game in and steered them right into a victory.
Oh, steered into a victory. We're going to steer into our first break, but when we come back, we'll be back on the analyst desk with Might to break down on what happened in game 1. Stay tuned.
Good evening and welcome back. We are back with Dominate Week 1, Game 2, Utah State versus California State University, Long Beach. Utah, of course, going up 1-0 thanks to Low the Man having a dominant performance on the Casante last game. Lam and Crims, what do you think? Give me some of your thoughts about that last
Tell him, Crims. Tell him what
Well,
happened.
it starts with
one.
B. It's the first word starts with B, and the second word starts with K. I think we know what the answer is, or at least don't pick the Orn as a counter to Casante.
Mm,
That's not a counter. We all know Orn loses that matchup. It's better to blind the Orn and let them counter Casante if you want to do that kind of thing.
mhm.
If not, I don't know. Maybe you don't play Gnar, but certainly there's a better matchup than Orn if you want to go for that team fight scaling. Although, let's be honest, Mike, we had you
Yep.
for a second, right? The 2-0 Orn against the Sejuani and the Casante
Oh
never should have
man.
happened. You thought, oh no, this is going to be over. Orn actually double killed solo. It was you were had for a second, right? Come on.
Lone had a moment. Lone had a moment. Actually, I jumped out of my seat a little bit. I was like, "Oh my gosh, the double kill pop off! Are we gonna turn this thing around? Are we gonna see the Orin carry come through?" But Low the man put a stop to that very, very quickly. The duo, the Kasante Sejuani duo, is just so powerful. Send that top a couple times, get a lead on the
Mhm.
Kasante, and all of a sudden he's like this powerhouse that cannot be stopped. Translate that into bot advantages, into dragons, and then they
Yeah.
just played a super clinical game from there on out.
And I feel
Um,
like we were just baited in by that Orn double kill at the beginning. I was thinking like this is
hopes
when
were
the
up.
complete opposite way that it's supposed to go, and then all of a sudden, yeah, Kisanti doing Kisanti things, and yeah, L stands for lamb in common lamb L, dude. It's common lamb lamb. That's it. DBZ, I love you, dude.
Yeah, we have
But Low the man, he played it phenomenal in that game. I mean, we
Yep.
hyped him up. Basically, he had all the answers to the ganks that went up there. That Sejani pick was so strong as well. I pair that with Kisante, like Mike says. You know, if you're gonna pick one, at least ban the Kisante away so that Sejani can still be a thing. But it just looked like in that game, Fifth Business was just everywhere, everywhere on the map.
Yeah, Sejuani is huge. I don't think you can really let that duo go through. But
Yeah,
speaking of rosters, we got Low the Man, we got
there
Fifth
we go.
Business over there on the side of USU. But on the other side, CSU, California State, is going to be doing some roster swaps. Their main jungler is coming in. Dollheart, of course, was substitute, but Black Velvet Rose, we are going to see the Master Graves showing up this game. Probably going to see another Graves ban this game. Dollheart getting swapped out into the AD carry role. Snuggles is going to take a rest for a little bit. No, a well-deserved rest after that attempt in the last game. But it's exciting to see what are these roster changes going to bring to the landscape of this battle here. Are we going to potentially see a 1-1 here? Can Black Velvet bring this thing back around?
Well, I certainly think a jungle main is gonna do a lot better. I'm not
Yeah.
flaming you,
Mhm.
Dollar. You were put out of your. I know you do your side gigs as a jungler here, but we see your OP.GG. We know what you mainly play here, and so I think that the jungle is gonna be. We're gonna see a better performance in the jungle. Although we have to give it, there was some heart in that game. It's just that the
Yeah.
level 1 dive onto the Syndra was a little bit botched, didn't go as planned, a little bit overforced, and so that gave what should have been a first blood for Virtual Sword. Instead, the Sejuani gets the gank first with a very cheeky bot side to bot side gank. I think you know that's a very cheese play. Can be punished. Dollheart wasn't in the position to punish as well either. So it was really on the level 1 to 3 that set this game's pace.
I think so.
100. Yeah.
Once you burn your flash
100%.
in the mid lane there for Vi, it's kind of downhill. Also, Virtual Blade is also being subbed out. Just Spud is coming in for the mid lane there for CSU. Wanted to bring that up, but go ahead, Lums. What were you saying?
I was just going to say that, these substitutes coming in, you have to change something, right? And if that means that um, you change up somebody who's an AD carry into the AD carry position, then you're going to see 100 times result in that. And
Mhm.
not really, again, Dull Heart's fault, kind of thrown in there, accepted responsibility. Picked a jungler that is very hard to actually play into a composition like that, I'll be honest.
Yep.
Because that single target doesn't really factor in when you've got Kisanti on the team. And that is something that they will have to work around. And now with Black Velvet coming in at jungle main, I believe that you said his master status here, might
Mhm.
definitely going to see a big improvement in there. The fact that Dolhart is now back onto the AD carry role position is going to suit him so much more. So Fifth Business, he had a really clean game in that first game, but he was also an off-role individual, and now he's going up against somebody who should be well matched with him.
Yeah, and I do want to give props to CSU there for doing the roster changes, getting everybody a chance to play the field a little bit, see who can perform in what different roles, test the waters a little bit. It seems like they've got a pretty big sub pool lineup. So I'm excited to see where that carries them through for the rest of the season. Teams that are going up against CSU are going to have to watch out because they are training up their threats right now. They are getting ready, prepped in the gym. Game 1 goes over. They test the waters. Game 2, they're bringing out the big guns. This should be a much more competitive match. And I'm super excited to see what this draft has in store for us, which we should be getting into in just a little moments. But do we have anything else of note that you want to bring up, Crimson Law?
I mean,
Ban
I wanted.
Casante.
Well, yeah. Before we get to that, maybe
Sure.
we'll just throw our previous jungle in mid lane a bone. It looked like they could pull off the Vi Oriana combo very well. In
Yeah.
fact,
Yeah. Yeah.
almost turned around the game in that mid lane. They caught out the Kaylin and Nami,
Hmm.
but right after they did an amazing play, they took a very good play into a very losing play by going to the Rift Herald and then getting completely steamrolled. So if you take two big mistakes like that in a row in this game, the level 1 to 3, and that one, well, I guess you're gonna lose the game here. But yeah, new jungler coming in, and I believe we might be starting this draft very soon. All players are in order. Look at that, we can order up in time.
I
Look
love
at
that.
that. Perfect. Beautiful. When does that ever happen?
Yeah, organization turning up on time is a big thing with Risen. Continually say it, and I hope you're watching the VOD. You know who you are. You know who you are, and you know what you did. I'm only kidding. Free him, dude. He's doing his thing. Anyway, it doesn't matter because ultimately for these guys now, this is the most important game, right? They got
Hmm.
everything kind of fell out in that first game. Utah, very convincing. California, I think they had glimpses. I really like who Crims mentioned, the Oriana, the Vi. It could have worked, and it did for maybe a couple of instances. We've seen a big shockwave actually picked up the double kill in that mid lane, but then they just kind of lost their footing a little bit. The Ornn never really got to play the game. The Varus as well. The Zillion did help, but those roams didn't really benefactor anybody. So it was pretty tight. Oh, and Mike, I believe you got to send us somewhere really quick. I just noticed.
Oh, we are starting up the draft, so I'm going to go ahead and give this one away to Lam and Crims. Y'all kill it out there, have fun, and let's get into this draft.
Yeah,
Dude,
here we go. Bands, bands, bands. Oh, we're not seeing the big K man yet in the band so far. I hope we do. They're gonna go for an interesting
maybe
Zyban
California won it.
instead. Okay, I guess they can go for it on their first blue side pick.
Oh,
USU aren't gonna get it either. They need to
there it
battle the Mad
is.
Kai, and there he is, Cassante. I believe here that lone Ronin is gonna be that lone top laner. Hopefully, gonna be put on an island with the enemy top laner in this game and have a field day. Cassante bans. Everyone thinks they have a counter USU. Is that gonna be true for you?
I was just gonna say that obviously Utah would have expected this Kisante to go over since they left it open, but that Mumu was taken away in the I believe it was the second phase of banning in the last game.
Yeah.
And Amumu right now, top tier jungler, top tier support. This champion can go anywhere. Crims, it's devastating the lockdown potential. But Fiora is going to be the answer to the Kisante. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, Fiora is a counter to the Cassante, can stun him multiple times, and the procs really cut through Cassante's tankiness with the percent health damage. Problem is here, Lamb, that's a skill matchup, at least in my opinion. Both champions have opportunities to win that. However, I'm going to give it to Fiora. Fiora favors. So USU, they have the proper response. It was banned in game 1. So now they have that counter pick. It's open. The Zyban, I'm thinking, is a question mark ping for me. Sivir going to be picked up here. Very strong team fighting champion. And I think they're going to pair it with a enchanter support. At least I hope they do.
Now, I feel like there's a missed window here because that's Sijani. Yeah, baby,
Oh, they're going
let's
to take it first
go.
round.
Oh, yeah. That's
They're
what I'm
going to take it
saying.
first
Lamb the color
round.
caster coming to a cinema near you, baby. That's what I'm saying. You got to take it.
Hey.
That combination is too devastating not to take here, Crimson. They pick it up in the first phase.
Yeah, Mumu is a flex pick, but I think there might be a good shots in jungle this time around. We'll see what 80 carry they pick up here. But Sejuani Cassante, that is a lot of strength on the top side. Fiora can also pair well with the Sejuani Lamb, so that's also going to be a bit of a takeaway. They're going to be
Oh, wow.
positioning the Vayne. Sivir wins the lane pretty strong here, but Vayne can survive. The Sivir is going to be losing CS, going to get pushed in all lane long, but can come back. It's looking like they have a lot of skill check champions on USU. This is either going to be an absolute stomp or it's going to be an absolute disaster. Lamb, which one do you think it's going to be?
I think they're putting the question out there, and right now we've seen so heavily in game one that the team composition mattered more. Actually did it though. I mean, the individual talent that these guys have, you could argue that they won their matchups 2v2, 1v1. It didn't really matter about the team fighting because once it came to the team fighting, they were already so far ahead. Where they actually gave kills over was mistakes that they maybe just went over the mid lane. But the biggest thing that California State lacked in that game is they used a lot of ultimates to kill one person, right? We've seen that big dive in the mid lane where they all came onto God, memory doesn't serve me very good here, but I can't remember the champion who it was. Oriana. It was Oriana. No, it wasn't.
Oriana.
Oriana
Or
was on their team.
Syndra.
Syndra. They tried to burn a lot to kill the Syndra. They did kill the Syndra, but she traded back 1v3. And that's what kind of set the tone for the game because they were committing everything to try and get these individual members to kill them. And when they made it happen, they still didn't come out on the positive side of it. So they have to try and fix that. They have to take the game to Utah because they're on a high right now. They just look like they can pick whatever they want. They got team ambition vibes here, Crims.
I wouldn't put it. I wouldn't put it that far. I think they
You
have a
hate team ambition
respectable.
so much.
The USU have a more respectable draft, but you know what? The cockiness, the level of ego Team Ambition had, may be present here at USU. They're compared with Jana. I would have preferred something more like a Lulu. The Jana does have excellent peel to get members off. Sejuani Casante can be flung away, and that's going to give some safety to the Vayne. I also suspect USU going to have a massive backliner in their mid lane pick
Yep.
here. CSU, they have an opportunity to get a good support counter. Something with Prio would be nice. I don't think Renata's going to give that Prio, but it is going to offer a lot of problems to the Amumu and Fiora counter dive champion here. No one really likes to pick that Lulu, it seems. I think something like Karma Lulu would have been excellent in this game for both teams. Last pick in the mid lane. Gonna have to blind it this time around for CSU. And they're gonna go with
Oh,
the Rise.
scaling.
And that
It's your favorite.
it's got the scale factor, but I think something that is very important here, Lamb, is single point and click CC, and that's going to give Fiora and Vayne a hard time. The Rise is an excellent pick into locking down these
Oh,
champions
wow.
for the kill, but this is going to open up a bit of a Cassidon here. I think that Cassidon level 1 to 3 is going to be pitiful, going to be absolutely terrible. And I'm hoping CSU, they tried that level 3 gank this time. They should try it again. And I hope it's going to work out. I think it's going to be a lot better with the Rise Sejuani.
Yeah, you got to get busy on casting very early on. It's a really good point, actually, that casting's early game is so dramatically bad that you have to make him pay for it because obviously what they're thinking is Rise is going into this lane. He wants to scale. He's not going to go looking for those solo kills very early on, right? You pick up the tier, you pick up your components for Rod of Ages as well, and you wait until you get that. And that's kind of the same pattern that casting goes in this game. So that Sejani, we spoke about it before, is so devastating. As soon as she gets into the lane, she can proc 3 stacks of that stun already, and really it's getting that last auto attack. And if you can get that, get the flash out of the cast in, make him stick around his turret, get the Rise off to a really good start, that's a potential win condition as well. But now they have choices to make because California State are going up against Utah now, who have 3 carries on the board. They have Vayne, who wants to get to mid to late. They have Fiora, who's very early on a good duelist. Going into the Kisante, though, that's going to be a highly skilled matchup, like you already mentioned. And then it's basically choosing for the Sejani, where do you go? What do you focus? Who's the more scarier on this opposition? And going off the last game, it's going to be that top laner that's going to be the focus of everything because he was just so devastating on that Kisante, but now he's on the Fiora, and that champion can definitely excel at what he did on the Kisante. He can do the exact same on this top laner.
That possibility is there to burst out this Fiora. Is a little bit safer due to mobility and the riposte here, Lamb, but definitely that danger, that damage certainly exists. That being said, I don't even think they need to visit top lane here, Lamb, because key factors here. Casante, super bad early game. Vayne, super bad early game. These are champions that you could take advantage of that are extreme late game scalers. And not to mention, your own mid lane and bot lane are scaling champions that hit an earlier spike. So you can get your champion accelerated. That's going to be massive for the mid game here. I think they focus bottom and mid lane here, and they kind of just let Cassante go on island. If you have an opportunity, go for it. But Cassante, I think, is survivable into Fiora if you let him chill on an island up there. Maybe we'll be losing a little bit, but if you have big wins in the mid and bot lane, who cares about top lane here? I think USU, they go for the super ego draft. It's extremely punishable. This is basically saying, CSU, I don't think you can punish mid or bot lane here. And I'm hoping CSU will prove them wrong. This is an ego draft. You said team ambition. This is feeling like they have that same energy, but I would say a little bit more of a brain.
Well, the biggest thing that I don't think they're correlating into this is their substitutes now on California State who are in their respected positions. So they know how to play the AD carry role. Dolhart moving down from the jungle had a pretty tragic time in there. And they must think, Utah must think here that because we won so heavily in game one, maybe we don't have to show anything to the rest of the league, right? Maybe we don't have to
Okay.
draft a
All right.
composition. Maybe we just pick something to actually just win us the lane, win us the game, and then eventually we can crush the mental and then take it from there, right? You can start that snowball going. But the biggest thing here is if this team composition in California State get off the mark, I really actually like this Renata pick now because the fact that the casting is being locked in, the fact that the Vayne, you need some type of disengage, right? Because what do those champions like to do? They like to run you down and just kill you. They're relentless. The tumble, final hour, going to invis, everything like that. If you connect with that Renata disengage, the rest of the team can follow up with that, right? And you can get your spell fluxes from Rise and everything. There's so many situational things that can happen in these team fights, but I really like their team composition. Let's find out if Mike likes this team composition, though, because he's the analyst. Mike, what do we think about the compositions going into this one?
So, looking real quick at the draft, we're looking pretty tit for tat in every single lane. Cassante into Fiora, Fiora, of course, being the skill matchup, counter potential. Tanks in the jungle all around. Rise and Cassidon, Rod of Age users matching each other. I telepathically sensed that a Cassidon was going to be picked once the blind Rise came in. It's just two scaling picks against each other. It makes so much sense. A little bit flashier and splashier on the Cassidon, a little more teamfight oriented on the Rise. Severe and Vayne both coming in, both great teamfight champions. Vayne a little more tank shed, Severe a little more wave clear, and then Renata Glasgow and the Janna. So the support matchup is where we're going to see a little bit of a mismatch here. Renata, of course, like you said, being anti-dive with the ultimate. With the bailout, there's a lot of things that she can do to stop the Cassidon from just like chain killing everyone potentially in the late game if it really goes that far, but you don't really want to be in that position anyways. Whereas
Yeah.
Janna's going to be playing a bit more of a peel oriented role. So all in all, it's pretty well matched, and I think Lom kind of nailed it on the head. It is a little bit more flashier and splashier. Cassidon and Vayne and Fiora being like solo carry type champions that can just dominate a game, create pressure everywhere they go. If we see this thing go to late, it's going to USU. If we can get a lot of team fight advantage and start snowballing objectives, then it's going over to CSU. And I'm really excited to see what Black Velvet Rose has in store for us this game.
I think the potential for CSULB to take over this game is there. Something we might have skipped over just a little bit. We talked about skill matchups. We're talking about the side of USU. Look at their high ego, but high mobility champions. That's really their strength here. They can be
Mm-hmm.
able to just skirt around these team fights. But there's a problem that I said in this draft. There's a lot of lockdown for the side of CSU. If they get their grubby hands onto this onto this Vayne, Cassidon, or Fiora, well, without their mobility, they're a sitting duck. And look at this point and click Rise snare. You're just going to be completely locked down by the rest of the team and killed off, I presume. So it's going to be a lot on positioning. If they're out of position, I think the Rise is just going to catch them and they're going to be fodder.
You have to imagine that Vayne's taking cleanse here. I mean, if we don't see a
Yeah.
cleanse in it, it's going to be a little bit rough. So I'm really hoping that that cleanse does come through for Vayne to relieve some of that pressure. But we are going to run to a break here real quick while we get everything synced up. We get the game ready for you. That is game 2, CSULB going 0-1 against USU. Don't go anywhere.
Utah, California. How hot is it going to get on this rift between both of these teams? You certainly say that that heat was being felt by the Californians in game one, but there is always a chance in the League of Legends to bounce back. And certainly, look at this, they're expecting something of an invade here, but of course, this Death Brush won't be rewarded at all. And we'll certainly have our eyes on this vein. We can confirm that that cleanse is going to come through, so Mite's going to be happy about that one. That this vein is going to try and cleanse any CC that comes her way, but CC is in vast amounts on California here, Crims. I mean, they got so much on the board right now. Sejani, Rise, and even the Renata too can hit you with that. So what do you prioritize that cleanse for here?
Probably the long range Sejuani ultimate. It's going to be the easiest to Captain Jack. Oh, landing here. It's going to be easiest to Captain Jack and get out of those very dangerous situations that you are out of position for. Otherwise, if you don't get hit by that, maybe the Rise snare might be the one to go for here. But it's usually the long range ones that lend to that long CC train, and CSU have that in spades here. I do want to point out that you just use comp. Just based off how much CC they lack here, really need that Amumu setup. Have to play a little bit more bursty. So the better lead that they're in, the better they can burst, the better these games are going to go for them. So let's look at these lanes for the early leads. We're going to be paying attention here to Black Velvet Rose. I hope they have a game plan, and they need to execute on an early one in order to secure the mid-game victory for them here. Both junglers, opposite pathing, same side pathing, but Fifth Business is a little bit behind. Looks like he's going to go for another cheese gank just based on this route. Doing the Gromp last. They're trying to gank ball in early.
Making things happen early is certainly something that they'll focus on here. But I do want to go back in Utah State. They're favorites for a reason here.
Wait a minute, Lamb. Look at Mumu here. Is he getting spot out? They're sending a support up early. They have the push. It might just be a mid lane gank instead.
There's nothing over there from though. Yeah, he's going to return back to the blue side. Wow, I was on the edge of my seat there waiting for Fifth Business to get busy. But kind of just want to go back and reflect on what Utah State previously achieved last seed coming in last season. And they did make it all the way to the semi-finals, right? They are a team that once they've got that snowball going, they fell short just a little bit, but maybe they're looking at just to right the wrongs of what happened last time out. And by going off that first game, it's certainly putting respect on the organization, right? They hold a lot of weight in this big division in Dominant.
Now, you didn't tell me that you were also a historian.
Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, that is in my accolades.
Yeah, nice double degree there, I imagine. As the Fifth Business has been slowed down by this clear. Look, you talk about how much of a brain you have, and it's just the veneer that you're hiding under. Obviously, you have a PhD somewhere. As Just Spud is going to be clearing the mid lane. Fifth Business has been stalled this whole game. Black Velvet Rose on such a massive tempo lead, but it's not being put to use right now.
No, and it's a different look for Fifth Business in this one, right? I mean, Amumu can kind of follow the same trend as a Sejani, but you don't really have that big lockdown that Sejani offers compared to the Amumu until you're level 6. And Conqueror on the Amumu as well. Interesting. And of course, you need to land both of those bandage tosses as we see Just get pushed out of the lane. Mumu helping out the casting with that one. And so far, Azen untouched in this very early game. Level 4 now. We see that duel in top lane and Total Strides go through. Low the man, take the fight to Kisante. Goes forward, doesn't get the last hit, which would have secured the solo kill. So it looks like he knows how that matchup goes here, Crims. Could this be the counter that everybody's looking for?
Yeah, the Fiora counter is strong. Should win early if you can get the trades. I have to say, though, Lamb, is going to deviate a little bit. Just Spud is playing excellently around Black Velvet Rose, leaning to the right side and totally negating any of Fifth Business's ganks here. Just Spud doing really well in this early lane phase. And so far, both teams are at a wash, but the CS difference is showing in the bot and top side. 10 CS difference apiece. This is not how it should be going.
I have to agree with my colleague here. You certainly don't want to see Valentine get up on this vein. Look at Fifth Business just hovering here. Trying to see if this Sivir will find a way far enough from the turret. Of course, has that spell shield in inventory and that exhaust readily available for any potential dive. He's wasting a lot of time down here, Crims. He's waiting for this wave to go. Oh, what a ward that was. They knew something was up there.
Yeah, there's a bit of a fish smell in the air. Dollar Heart senses it. But now the wave is pushing away. And they're going to have to fight their way through. Kanya, it's a bit of a trade. So far, junglers haven't been able to do anything here, Lamb. We were hoping that Black Velvet Rose was going to get something happen early for the team, especially in mid and bot, but looks like it's just a complete dry spell. That desert, that heat wave coming in for both teams right now.
Sejani will find a Mumu eventually here. Actually opting to take away the chickens as Azen goes up against Just Bud. Level 6 for both the top laners. Flash ahead from Black Velvet Rose. No level 6 on that one. Flashes everywhere. Azen goes back in and gets the kill on the opposing mid laner, and he will get out with assistance from Fist Business.
They don't win the 2v2. This one goes for the extended trade, but somehow Black Velvet Rose isn't able to find. Azen was trying to predict the ultimate, the Rift Walk, but wasn't able to do so, and the game was won by Azen. They were playing that mini game there. Meanwhile, Lone Ronin has to farm up top side under turret, taking some procs as he's farming away, but Lamb, this is not the game plan we're looking for from CSU.
No, it's not. And in that mid lane, especially, as if from California, instead of the Rift Walk, that's a Sea Walk, baby. And he's chilling out all over that mid lane. I mean, he's enjoying himself. And this is the worst case scenario that we're looking at now, Crims. He actually got the back off, so now he's scaling a little bit better. He's got a catalyst of Aeons. And the inventory, he's got his tier in there as well now, so he got paid big time off of that first blood. And if you needed that first blood to go over to any member that needs a snowball, especially going to be in that mid lane.
Has the tier as well, and the catalyst is showing how much farther ahead this Kassadin is to getting that Rod of Ages first. And once that hits that 10 stack mark, the tank Kassadin that does damage will be here. Lone Ronin. Yeah, look at this matchup here. The CS difference is growing. Wow. 30 CS difference is massive, and the gold lead up here is showing 600 gold. 600 gold up here. That's equivalent to 2 kills.
Low the man wants a little bit more. Grand challenge going to be used. All out goes back towards the turret there, and the damage will come out. Whoa! Kasante turns it around. Lone Ronin up there in the top lane. What CS discrepancy?
Does it 2 times in a row, Lamb. Somehow you think he's going to die in lane, but says, no, I have the outplay. Well, that CS diff just got shored up to now a 200 gold. Still a fair for Fiora, but that CS isn't hurting as much as before. Lowman, you had the right play, get the dive, get the kill, but Kasante was the problem. Lone Ronin gets the counter kill off the ultimate, and making this game a lot closer. Look at that CS difference now. We were worried for CSU. Topside looking good. That island play that I was talking about is working out. Just need to fix bot in mid here. That's a big difference. Black Velvet Rose, you got to play for this mid and bot lane. They really need that lead.
Well, now that wave will bounce back eventually to Kasante. So Low the man probably just going to chop it down one at a time to try and keep it up that lane as much as you can, because ultimately that turret helped out in that solo kill in the top lane. But overconfidence showing maybe up there. Crims, Low the man certainly knows the matchup, but he just kind of underestimates the power that is Lone Ronin up there. He's a lone individual for a reason.
Yeah, he's a vagabond of top lane here, and he's getting paid for these assassinations. Topside, they're looking like they're gonna flex this newly found Kasante power into Rift Herald, but it's getting called out, and they outplay the 3v3.
Actually has one stack of Rift Walk stacked up your fifth business. Oh, you actually dove into the curse of the sad mommy there. That goes off to kill Sejani. This looks really detrimental for California State as they're pushed out of the North River. Lone Ronin gets the lead by Azen. Just Bud, the monsoon comes out, heal them up as they offer the dive. Bandit shots into the kill. Fifth business, making it his business to secure that one as the Nat ultimate goes wide.
Oh, they don't have the Renata reset either, so just Spud just dies straight out. Lamb, I think California State University of Long Beach have a bit of a curse, and that curse is named Rift Herald. Twice in a row they go for it and they get burned. This team, you gotta stay away from this objective because it's not working out for you.
Well, curse fully activated now and gets the teleport out of Lone Ronin. Makes it back up there. Flash is burned across the board. Actually, no flash was up for the Sejani or the Rise there. And very questionable fight to take, but Caston is going to actually buy the Roddy Ages now. Oh, Hand taking a lot of damage out of Valentine, but ultimately has to back off because Dolhart has returned to the lane.
Just a bait for the Sivir to try to get the kill. Doesn't fall for it though. Was looking very juicy, but is smart enough not to go for it. Lone Ronin taking a lot of health down early. We've seen this before.
Misses that knockup. Black Velvet is here as well to lock down the Fiora. Low the man. Now has to retreat, winning the 1v1 comfortably. But good babysitting coming through from the Sejani. You can't let the Kisante die anymore. He just used the teleport to get back to lane, and Azin just has one over on Just Spot in that mid lane. Though the man, this is really enticing for the Fiora. He's gonna go for it right here. Riposte and knock up. Oh, it's just so good from Low the man.
Doesn't get the outplay this time around. No turret to assist, unlike last time. Black Velvet Rose. I mean, we got to start calling it out now. You need to do something. Your team is falling behind, and you are the only way out. Black Velvet, watching, see if you can make a play, turn this around. Just Spud constantly dueling Azin, but we can see here the damage is just not there. The magic shield from the Kassadin is tanking so much damage this time. Goldheart's not getting ahead either.
Well,
Play needs to be made.
Down here with Shelly as well. They're trying to drop this, but the ricochets will stop the summon for now. That wave coming through now. Just Spud getting pushed back to the turret. Actually trades it a little bit evenly with the Kassadin. But Azin certainly has prio over that matchup. We're going to see Shelly spawn to your health, looking to get charges off, get paid with the plays. Vanish toss goes over, no spell kill comes out in time, he gets condemned into the wall. The bailout is on there, hostile take will land on multiple, but they'll trade evenly. Jungler for the AD carry, teleport coming in. This is going to be the Rise that will join the fray, and this pain is just taking over. Valentine, it's like the Valentine's Day Massacre. Rename that to Valentine's Day Massacre. He picks up the Sejani, he's looking for Spud, and he'll secure that one as well. Triple kill with AD carry.
Lamb, you were talking about a disco earlier, but they're just dancing around them on Utah State. Absolutely beautiful. I mean, they're just breaking ankles out there. Black Velvet was absolutely mesmerized and confused, didn't know where to go. And this is a complete snowball now. And last time when Utah got ahead, it was absolutely a slaughter. And now they're ahead even earlier with the harder scaling champions. CSU, it looks like that was your last dance.
Nobody likes the last dance. Let me hit you with a joke here, Prince. Why was the skeleton upset at the party?
I know why not.
He had no body to dance with.
Oh, I got a bone to pick with you after that one.
Oh, baby, it gets worse and worse. Let's keep it rolling. Actually, these jokes are probably on par with the detrimental game state for California State. See what I did there? It's a state all the way around here, dude. Lone Ronin under pressure constantly from Low the man, level 11 now on that Fiora.
Well, Lamp, doesn't matter what state you're in, it's all Utah right now.
Oh, all out. Ronin is in trouble here again. Oh my god.
Look, you can't struck lightning twice. You know, it just doesn't happen very often. Lone Ronin is in a downward death spiral now, just as Just Spud is as well. The Rod, look at this, Azin gets it first, and now this matchup.
Oh, but the bait was perfect. He set it up, and Azin will go down. Turret MVP in this game, but that kill goes over to the jungler, not the Rise.
I think Turret does have more damage than CSULB, combined. All the turrets, though, not just one turret. All the turrets here are doing most of the damage. Utah doing most of the dives, though, as this dragon is coming up. I don't think California is anywhere close enough to contest this. So it's going to be clean 3 objective sweeps for the side of Utah again. And, well, Lamb, I'm at a loss. I don't know where California can come back in this game. Sure, they have more AoE and team fights, but at this point, the damage from Utah is just going to be absolutely massive. The Vayne, 3-0, has the Blade of the Rune King. Is going to be able to cut this Sejuani down in the front line. Not going to be able to stall long enough. Outside of a miracle, I don't know what California State University of Long Beach can do.
It's looking a tough task, and certainly the more this game goes on, usually Bandage Toss actually was going wide there regardless. Usually you fall back onto the fact that you have a Sivir and a Rise, right? And you have that scaling factor. But hey, look on the other team. They got a Kassadin, they got a Vayne, and a Fiora. So they got 3-2. And all those kills currently are sitting on the Kassadin, sitting on the Vayne, and that Fiora up top. Looks really good into the Cassandra.
Oh, they got a cat.
Ronan going to go for something here. Still goes forward. You can see how much damage he just does not have. Trying to secure the kill. Realm Walk comes through. Kiamiya going to go stasis, but Just Spud picks that one up. That's good. Valentine in trouble, gets exhausted. That gets cleansed off. He's got the whole squad looking for him here.
Oh,
Glacial Prison.
Oh,
Yeah, they're looking to just secure the kill. Who are they going to give it to? He actually walks out in range. They're making it work for it. Oh, he gets shut down by the Sejuani. Again, another kill over a Black Velvet Rose. And then going to go back under the turret there with the Rift Walk stack. Permapod's going to be activated. Look for the kill. He trades over. He gets Lone Ronin. He gets the Sejuani. And, oh, wow, Dolhart secures the kill below the man. The pressure just going hard in that top lane.
they pick up some shutdowns. It's going to be nice money bag for CSU, but it's only shrunk their gold lead just a little bit, only making a dent. Just Spud here, just trying to clear the wave. And Low, the man just trying to get the wave in, does successfully do that. They sacrificed a lot just to get a few picks. They did get 3, so you could say they did win that situation, but they're going to need to pull that off a lot more. I have to say, the kill going over to Black Velvet Rose had to smite to get the finish onto Vayne. Not where they want the gold either. Dolhart does pick up 2 kills overall in this game, so they are getting some money into their pocket.
Jungler turned AD carry. Traditionally, their AD carry, Dolhart, looking so much better in this game already. But again, it's pretty even in that AD carry department. Now, the Vayne did pick up the Blade of the Ruined King first, and that might be the, I guess, the case for survivability in that ball lane there. It looked for sure like Valentine would drop instantly, but it just took so long to actually kill him. You can see how troublesome it is for them to actually lock down that Vayne once that cleanse is available.
Won't be much longer till Cleanse comes back up as well. I think it might make it in time for the Dragon, and that's going to be the most important. Having sums for the Dragon is what you want to be, allocating that time for. So Valentine going to be able to have all sums up. That means maximum safety for the Dragon, maximum damage output here. Big Fitness going to walk straight in general. Alone, face checking is only going to take a tiny bit of a punish on the way out, but they're mounting the pressure. The mid turret still stands due to Dolhart's wave clear, and so far that's the last peg that is holding up CSU here.
Oh wow, and Low the man gets the rock off there onto the turret and chunks that down.
Oh,
But
they're
the
going for a
whole
catch.
squad on the hunt actually fought very early on from Dolhart. Desperation attempts, which means Dolhart is no longer there to defend that mid lane turret as that falls to Shelly.
And the last peg has fallen, and now the stack will crumble.
Look at this 1-3-1 right now, Crims.
Yeah, this is great. Perfect what they want. Solo laners on the side. They have the Rift as well. They're going to get maximum farm as well as pulling members around to get this turret damage. So they have their pressure activated. TPs are up for both solo laners. So now they can get an easy Dragon Spear in about 50 seconds here. They have the vision down. They're going to get their resets eventually, and they're going to refill all their wards. and this should be a King 3 Dragon sweep. I imagine CSU, they are going to feel the need to go for it, so maybe a huge team fight in the future for you, Lamb. Now you're itching for that.
Oh yeah, always itching for the play-by-play. You want the team fight, you pop off every time. But it's just a casual 6,700 gold lead for the side of Utah here as the troops are coming in. Black Velvet Rose, Arctic Assault on the low demand. How long can he delay it here?
Everyone's here.
As well. Yeah, they're trying to get the whole squad again. Doesn't hit with a Glacial Prison. This is the same instance from game 1. They use so much to try and kill someone, and it doesn't work here. Low demand walks it off.
Yeah, blows the ghost and has the Q for mobility. And once you miss one lockdown, the others are hard to follow. And now with all their ultimates being used, they cannot contest the stretch.
And he still has his Just Squad, gets a cleanser, we fall in time, but again, those summoners are timed around these objectives.
That is how it should be for the 80 carry. And now Baron is up at 21 minutes, looking mighty juicy. It looks like they're gonna have some shrimp for breakfast here. I guess it's more like lunch. Is it more lunch or dinner?
I mean, it can be whatever you want. If we're trying to get shrimp after this, I'm done. I always like good shrimp. Sushi. Actually, sushi is not really shrimp, but it can still be classified. I mean, it's seafood. We'll just call it seafood. That Baron uncontested. Teleport comes in from Just Bud. He's in a world of hurt right now, as in charging up the Rift Wall, but the rest of the squad are coming. Realm War, Black Velvet going forward. Valentine, no claims, or Flash now on the AD carry, but he's shielded so well from his team. Rune Prison, Monsoon comes out, you keep him alive there. You've seen the damage go through. Hotel take over Glacial Prison to get one. Soulheart on the board. Good wraparound from Fifth Business, but no follow-up. Which means they're going to kill the Mummy here. He goes in from D5 and perishes. As you see a little bit of fight back, California State, they get 2.
This business had the 5-man ult in his eyes, but he wasn't paying attention to his team's position. They were not ready for it. Gives over an extra kill. But I have to say, Lamb, 2 kills for a Baron. I'll take that trade. And they have plenty of pressure in this game on the side laners already. Imagine a Baron to boot. So they're going to be able to take down these turrets, I have to imagine, even with 3 Barons. And to be honest, Valentine didn't go down there, so still has the Baron.
Oh, Ronin looking to be another statistic up there in the top lane. As well, the man taking that fuel down there as well, and Casanti doing negative damage to this immaculate tank mage, whatever you want to call it. I call it Azen. He gets the 5th kill of his game.
Azen making it look easy to kill a Cassante. He just looked completely defenseless. A tank versus an assassin, completely defenseless there. Kassadin, after 2 items, does it all. And look at this 1-3-1. It's starting up again, but this time with Baron. Valentine holding up the mid lane Baron, all on his lonesome there. And these outer turrets are in jeopardy. And without Ronin, it's going to be worse trying to defend this 4v5. Dalhart doing his best. Look at this, trying to hold the line against a Baron wave.
Well, that Baron loss couldn't have went much better for them. They got the Baron still on every single carry. So they have the Fiora, they have the Casting, they can still push in with a 1-3-1. That is not negating the fact they can win the game like this. Well, the man going to be under pressure here, but he's so far ahead of both of these individuals. Glacial Prison goes down. He jumps out of that one. Trying to juke it a little bit more. They're sending Just Bud to reimburse this. Grand Challenge goes down. He's dealing insurmountable damage here. Sidesteps everything. Fit business here. He put a T on this one. Time with Utah State as they turn around for Just Bud. Double kill for the Vayne, and Azen is destroying the base.
Looking like absolute demolishment. Lamb, the ego. The ego play is looking at Dalhart delayed.
He was there.
From the map.
Oh my God.
Riftwalk sent him into a different dimension. Shadow Realm them. Azir is trying to take more, and that ultimate is not going to do a single thing to prevent this game. Utah State taking it 2-0, making CSULB look like chumps and nerds versus a bully.
Utah living up to the hype as the previous semi-finalists, and now they are off the mark already in Dominate. I just want to take us straight back to the analyst desk and get some raw thoughts from Mike here as we look to close out this opening day, which has been phenomenal in the sense that we've seen really a showcase from one of these teams. And even once they got their substitutes in there, Mike, it made a little bit of difference, but did it really make that much of a difference for Utah and how they play the game?
Uh, Not really, unfortunately. I was hoping to see a little bit more action out of Black Velvet Rose, but she ended up kind of just wandering around attempting to scale. But the solo lanes were just getting destroyed. I mean, Lo the Man popping absolutely off on the Fiora, only dying once and drawing so much pressure. The amount of escapes that Lo the Man was able to pull off that game was insanity. Aizen also becoming this disgusting cast and basically putting the entire game on his back, able to kill anybody that came to him. And of course, Valentine with the 5-in-1 vein also being very safe while doing their job. I mean, it was a super clinical game, super by the books. Like you said, they were semifinalists last season, went from bottom seed play-ins to semifinalists. They're proving that they have what it takes to hang with the big dogs here and dominate, and they're proving to be one of the teams that you're gonna have to watch out for if you want to make your playoffs run this season. But Crims, what did you have to think about that one? You got anything for us?
I mean, they basically went unpunished exactly when they should have been, and in fact, they won that 2v2 mid that should not have happened. So I think CSULB gonna have to look back on this game's VOD review and say, hey, where did we go wrong? Why wasn't Sejuani able to get these plays off that we really needed? What happened in these solo lanes? Like they fell behind level 3 already. That is not what is supposed to be happening here. And yeah, Low in the Main took over topside, but I think in my prescription, they really needed to trade that for pressure in mid and bottom, and they got none of that.
Yeah, and the 1-3-1 was pretty flawlessly executed. It was so well done. Lo the Man was able to get out every escape. Aizen, of course, the high mobility cast, and also to get out. Just slowly but surely choke them out of the game in a very like analytical fashion. Just they've done their homework. They've practiced together. It shows that 14-game win streak and Flex. Hey, they've practiced together. They've practiced the coordination, and it's showing. Well done to USU, Utah State. As if you're in the side of California State University, I think nailing down your solid roster that you want to play every week, I think that's going to be huge. Having all these
Yep.
substitutions and switch-ins, while it may be good to get your guys some more experience on the field and get an idea for what roster is going to work, eventually you're going to have to nail it down because these guys have been playing the same guys in the 5 team for literally 14 flex queue games over the past 2 weeks, not to mention whatever scrims these guys are doing in the background and duo solo queue practice as well. So you got to not lock it in, get practice on it, get comfortable with it, be able to trust each other, and you'll start to see better results. So CSU, I'd like to see a more nailed down and official roster in the weeks to come. But they're not out of it yet. It's just week one. Sure,
No.
you're down
Yeah.
0-2, but you got a whole season ahead of you, Lom.
And if you've got, if you've got some kinks to be ironed out, then, week one is the time to do it. Find what works for people. We've seen a huge improvement in that game for Dolhart. So Dolhart, for sure, for me, like the AD carry role, no disrespect to previous, I believe it was Snuggle,
Yep.
who was in the AD carry role. It means that you've got something to work with, right? Depth is something that's extremely important when it comes to roster lineups. And if you can rotate that, certain AD carries play a certain way, and they can definitely find that they'll have their own individual styles that, they can make it work, Crims. You can kind of gel whatever is going to work for the rest of the team in that case. And certainly Dolhart moving from the jungle in the AD carry position actually looked pretty natural to me. Didn't really look
Mhm.
that much out of place in that game.
I think it was really the rest of the team coming together here. In the game one, I think we had better jungle mid synergy. This time around, didn't look as clean, and there needed to be a lot of attention there. I do wonder what went wrong. That first Sejuani gank, I think that should have been a lock to a kill. So maybe some more practice mid
Yep.
and jungle, get some of that communication and synergy built up. Didn't see much else on the field here as well. But all the lanes kind of just got locked out. So that macro focus, and let's just talk about these Rift Heralds. I called it the CSULB curse. I think it was apt. Every time they went for that Rift Herald, they thought they had prio or set up for it, and they just get absolutely slaughtered around this crab. Seafood dinner plate for Utah State every time. So I think they need to think about their Rift Heralds as well. Mike, what do you have to say about this Rift Herald curse for CSU?
Yeah, I think you need to be able to rotate your support up there to get those returns. At least contest them, know that it's happening, and be strong enough to fight it. I think if you're losing your solo lanes, it makes it a bit difficult to go in and contest those. It's just kind of free real estate for the most part, and USU took advantage of it. But you have to be ready to commit resources to that side of the map. Maybe even some roam junglers if need be, or sorry, roam junglers, roam supports, so things like Pike and Pike. No, I'm kidding. Rakan is a
Give us a
great one.
Pike game, by all
Just give us a
means.
Pike game. I love Pike. I love water-based champions, in case you didn't know. But so anytime I see a Pike or a
Ah,
Nami or a Neela, ooh, I'm all for it. Neela, I'd love to see Neela in one of these games, but that's probably not going to happen. Cassante is dominating the meta, and I can just imagine Neela trying to whip a
okay.
Cassante.
Now I'm a little bit interested here, Mike. Do you prefer ocean champions? Because Nyla is more like lake, like freshwater. But like there's
Mm.
ocean theme here. So do you like the
Hmm.
fizz a little bit more? You know?
I think anything that has anything to do with the water, like even
Doesn't
Gangplank, he's on a
discriminate.
pirate ship, so
Doesn't
he's just
Hell
discriminate.
yeah.
around the
I see.
water.
I'm on that
So hey.
Gangplank
No,
wave.
no. Pirates are afraid of water. Pirates are afraid of
Gangplank.
water.
Didn't Gangplank like drown in the lore or something
Exactly.
like that?
Yeah.
Shouldn't he be
No,
like
something
super
like that.
afraid of water? But
Oh yeah, Alawi,
anyways.
Wait.
octopus.
Before we
Oh
go,
yeah, Alawi.
I need to turn this common lamb L into a W real quick.
No,
Hey guys,
no,
who's your
no,
favorite
no,
League of
no,
Legends
no,
player?
no.
Mine personally is got to be Lo the Man. There you go, baby. Common
Hey,
lamb
there we
dub right
Hey,
go.
there.
shouting out. Well,
Yeah,
look,
Low
as
the
we all
Man's
know,
been great.
L stands for lamb. So every time you type in L in chat, that is lamb. It's basically
Now I'm
definition-wise
Wham.
the
It's
same
gonna be
meaning.
Wham now.
Wham, you changing your
Wham,
Like
name?
the band.
lamb versus wham. There we go. All
We
right. Well,
witnessed it
look.
here first.
All right. If lamb somehow ends up with a W, I guess everyone should be obligated to type wham in the chat. It also sounds like an onomatopoeia of lamb hitting something. So we should get that happening as well. Lamb hits something that's a wham. So let's get the whams. Look, let's keep it rare though, right? Like let's not give our play-by-play caster here an ego that he doesn't deserve. So I want to see more lambs than whams, but if he deserves a wham, we'll give him a wham.
But a great cast all around from both Lamb and Crims. Thank you for bringing us all that action. Week 1, dominate Utah State versus California State. But the action is not over. On the other stream, Risen 2, we currently have, let me just double check here. We've got Rengar Tea Time versus Uprising Academy, I believe. That is what we've got going on over on Risen 2, which we are going to head over to in just a second. So do not miss any of the action. Stay tuned to Risen. Welcome to the Dominate League. I hope you have a great time. This has been me, Lom, Crims, and Chippy on the production. We're bringing you week 1, but stay tuned and head on over to Risen 2 for some more Dominate action.